So tell us about emails.
Yes,
How do
email.
we organize them? Or what do we do with them?
Well, I'll give you some basic tips because most people have issues with emails because they have become another form of information that comes to us that we were never really trained on how to manage. It just all of a sudden appeared, and then we have had to work to figure out how to not have our inbox be overwhelmed. And that is the challenge, right? Is that people are overwhelmed by the amount of emails that come into them, as well as how to process them all, and then they get lost and they miss important information. So yeah, I have a few tips here that may help your audience. And the first is that I believe we should have 2 email addresses. And the reason is, one, you could have for a personal address. So that is the one that you give out to family and friends. You guard that email address, not so much as your social security number, but you guard that email address, and you only give it out to people who you want to receive emails kind of freely, that you're going to check more often. And then the second email is to use for businesses. So if you go to Macy's or Nordstrom's or something like that, and they say, well, can we have an email? You could give them that email, doctors, so forth, any type of business. Then you give them that business email. And the reason for this is that you can check your business email less often, and that's an easier one to kind of manage if it gets too junky, right? Because you're going to have, that's the email that's going to have some good filters so that you don't get a bunch of junk email on it. I've been doing that for years, and it works pretty well for me. And that kind of goes right into my second email or second tip, which is you can turn off your email notifications. That is something that causes a lot of people overwhelm, is the dinging that they get on their phones, or the constant pop-up that they get on their computers or their laptops. And it becomes very distracting. And people kind of have this fear that if an email is coming in, that they have to look at it right away. And that takes away from our focus of whatever we're doing at the time. And what it does is it says, you need to address me first. I'm most important, pay attention to me. It kind of screams that when you get that notification. So I recommend that people turn off all their notifications on their email, if you have those 2 email addresses, and then you set up times to check your email. So like with the personal email, you can check your personal email maybe, first thing in the morning, or kind of as part of your morning routine. And then you can check it again kind of midday, whatever is your comfort level to how often you want to check that. But then that business email, you only really need to check that like once a day. So that can kind of reduce your the amount of times that you have to pay attention to email.